Hello everyone and welcome to Twitch Tales episode 3 of the Cartographer campaign. Where did we leave off in episode 2? Well, Nifa Maruki, aka Noodle, an Ernivora cartographer, has arrived on the island of Drennvaal to map a particular area. Let's jump into it. Minaki, Maya, I'm writing to you from a difficult spot. You see, I arrived at the Brush and Quill, where I was told to meet with Randy. Lovely man, hobbit. He gave me the task of mapping out a swamp to the north. Apparently they'd had some other cartographers that had gone missing recently when trying to map it out. Pretty dangerous place. But I don't want you to worry, I think I can handle myself. That's why they hired me for the job. I took half the money up front and then decided, actually, I don't need to take money into the swamp with me, so I left it with Randy. And then I picked up all my supplies and I headed north. Once I got to the river, Randy had told me that north of that was where the problem was. So I found a rather questionably rickety old wooden bridge, and I crossed to the north of the river, and then I kept my eyes open. It's quite impressive, the landscape around here. It's a little different from that of home. There's a mountain range to the west of me, and I saw some creatures flying around. It's hard to tell the distance from where I am, but they seemed like they would have been the size of giant lizards. Eventually I got to the edge of the swamp and I decided to start my work, and so I got out my tools and I started taking notes. It wasn't long before I realized what the dangers of this forest might be, though. The marshland started getting boggier and muddier under my feet, and so I had to pick and choose my path carefully. At one point I went down a banking to get a little closer to a viewpoint, and when I got down to the water's edge, I realized I couldn't really go further without incurring some sort of difficult terrain underfoot. And so I turned around to head back, only I seemed to lose my path. I'd only just come down this bank, so it should have been pretty clear how to get back again, but it seemed to be difficult. It seemed to be missing the path that I took. It's at that point that I realized that it wasn't missing, it was just covered. There was a bush that wasn't there when I came down just moments before, and the bush seemed to be moving towards me. I think it's going to attack. Wish me luck. And that's where we're picking up in episode 3. What do you guys want to do? Take a defensive stance? You quickly close up the board, put it in your dry bag, wrap your dry bag up. It's definitely clambering towards you a little bit further. It's about, rough dimensions, probably about 10 feet in each direction, and is definitely closing in on you. And you've got maybe 20-foot space between it and the swamp, and you're between it. So you can keep scooting back, but you're going to be going into a swamp, like into the water. Poke it. A lot of people saying poke it. You try and pick up a stick from the ground nearby. Let's just do a quick investigation check. 8 plus your investigation, just 1, so 9. You find a stick, but you try and grab it, and it's just still connected. It's like more of a root system than a stick, so it's not a single stick you can poke it with. You've got daggers. You could throw a dagger at it. You've got a torch if you want to light a torch. It is now picking up the pace. It's about 15 feet from you. Can we do a check to see if we know what it is? Sure can. Let me roll you an Arcana check or a Nature check. Nat 1. You do not know what this is. It's some kind of living animal. Living tree, plant thing that's moving towards you. Torch, light up a torch. A lot of people saying light up a torch. So quickly unrolling that dry bag. You bring out a torch. You're rooting around for your tinderbox. It's now 10 feet from you. You get your tinderbox out. Torch under the arm, you open the tinderbox, it's about 8 feet from you, you get the light out, you're right up against the swamp now, your feet are starting to sink into mud, Tick, 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 tick. Action to just light the torch. 12, yeah, you're fine. It lights up. It's about 5 feet from you, and as you light the torch up, its tendrils, its vines, its creeping, grasping things start to reach out towards you. I'll have you roll initiative as you are trapped now between some sort of, I don't know, what would you call a mound of vegetation that's shambling towards you? Some kind of, let's call it a shambling mound, for instance. As it is shambling towards you on one side, and you are swamped behind you, I'll have you roll initiative. Do you have anything on your sheet? I don't believe you do. Anything to do with initiative? Nope, so it's just going to be straight dexterity. So that is another nat 1. Oh, that dice is rolled. Is that 3 nat 1s out of the last 4 dice rolls? So do we want to re-roll that nat 1 with a lucky, or do we want to take the nat 1 plus 4? That dice is busted. Please roll better. Okay, we're gonna temporarily cool this dice down. Hey dice, chill out. You're gonna go sit over here. We're gonna switch over to the honey dice for a little while today. Take the nat 1, take the nat 1. A couple of people saying lucky. Lucky is per sleep. Lucky is per sleep. Take the 1, it just means we'll go second. Cool. Most people saying take the 1. So for the Shambling Mound, yeah, Shambling Mound has a negative initiative modifier, but still rolls higher than you. So it is going to go first in the initiative order. First thing is going to make a multi-attack. I hope, I'm just saying now, I hope that I haven't completely overwhelmed you with a creature that's too powerful for you, because we are using 2024 rules, and most of the monsters have new rules as well. So I was thinking, Shambling Mound, I know how they work, I've used them plenty of times, but they are different now, so maybe they've got abilities that may be too much. We'll see. It's using 3 of these attacks. So the first attack is going to be a 16 to hit. Armor class 17 misses you. So those tendrils swipe out at you, and your dexterity, your drunken feature just kind of immediately kicks in, and you just pretend to be drunk. It's harder for this thing to hit you. It can make 3 of those attacks. So it's going to make a second attack. That is going to be a dirty 20 to hit. Dirty 20 to hit. Have you got any features that allow you to add anything to your defense? I don't think you do. Deflect attacks. Deflect attacks. How does that one work again? That's a 2024 rule, so if you're listening or watching this on YouTube later, just you're going to have to bear with me. It's the new rules, and I'm not 100% familiar with them. Deflect attacks. When an attack roll that includes bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage hits you, which I believe it does. Yes, this will be bludgeoning damage. When it hits you, you can take a reaction to reduce the attack's total damage by 1d10 plus 10. So if you want to, you can use a reaction to reduce the damage of this attack that's coming in. If you reduce the damage to 0, you can expend a focus point, you have a lot of focus points, to redirect some of the attack's force. And if you do, you can choose a creature within 5 feet of you, if it was melee, which it is. And that creature must succeed on a dexterity saving throw, which I just said it's not very good at. Or take some sort of damage of the same attack dealt by the damage. So if you want to, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage that's incoming from this swiping attack by a d10 plus 10, then spend a key point to force the Shambling Mound itself to take some of that damage. Stop hitting yourself. Is that what we want to do? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Deflect missile, yes, most people are saying deflect attacks. Alright, so it is going to hit you. I'm going to roll the damage first. 1 of those and 2 of these. So it is 8 points of bludgeoning, and it seems to crackle for 5 points of lightning. So that would be 13 points of damage. That is coming to 13 points of damage, but you're going to use your reaction to try to reduce that amount of damage by a d10 plus 10, which is... I rolled a 10 as well, so you reduce that by 20. You take no damage at all. If you reduce the damage to 0, you can now expend a focus point to try and force it to make a saving throw against taking its own damage. Is that something you want to do? It will expend 1 of your 6 focus points, but you have a lot of focus points and you can recover them very easily. Yes, 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 yes. Alright, so you use a focus point to... it whips out with the first one, it misses. The second one, it whips out, you put your hand behind it, kind of like whip it around and try and like force it to hit itself with one of its own damaging tendrils. And that means that it must make a, what was it, a dexterity saving throw. A DC 14 dexterity saving throw. Nat 1. Nat 1 minus 1 for its dex save, so it got a 0 on its dex save. It's going to fail that and take 2d8 plus 4 damage, which is 2d8 plus 4. That is going to be 6 plus 4 is 10 points of damage of the same type dealt by the attack, which is bludgeoning and lightning. Interesting. I'm going to make this one bludgeoning, this one lightning, because that's the same damage it was taking. This is funny. Order operations. The charged tendrils, which is the name of this attack. Charged tendrils does a d6 plus 4 bludgeoning damage plus 2d4 lightning damage. And so the bludgeoning obviously hits first and then crackles with lightning through you. So as it moves around, you grab the tendril, you hit it back on itself. You see that the bludgeoning damage hits it for 3 points of damage. Then the lightning hits it for 3 points of damage. And it triggers its lightning absorption feature. Whenever the Shambling Mound is subjected to lightning damage, it instead regains a number of hit points equal to the lightning damage dealt. So it does 3 points of bludgeoning damage, and then it heals 3 points of bludgeoning damage with the lightning. So now you've learned that lightning heals it. And that's because I rolled a 3 on the bludgeoning dice and a 3 on the lightning dice, I guess. That's funny. Alright, that was its second attack. It is going to go a third attack. Can it do this without you... Oh, they've changed it. It doesn't need to be grappling you to try this now, so it can now try this one. Okay, yeah, it can try this now. The 2024 rules, it doesn't need to be grappling you in order to try this. I thought it did. So its third attack, it's going to replace one use of its charged tendril attack with an engulf attempt. So you need to make a DC 15 strength saving throw, or you are engulfed and restrained by the Shambling Mound. Strength saves are your forte, don't worry about it. You're super strong, you're a bear person, right? I'll use the honey dice for you, because the other one was rolling garbage. That is an 8. 8 on the die plus 2 from your strength save takes it to a 10. A 10 is a failure unless you wish to use a hero point or a lucky. Lucky is just a straight reroll. Hero point, I'll allow you to just straight turn that into a success. Hero points are a little bit more powerful, but you only get them back once per session. Do you want to reroll or hero point it, or just take it as it is? Mostly saying hero it is. Alright, so you take the hero point, your once per session hero point, you use that to turn that failure into a success against the engulf. So it does not hit you with the first. It hits, but you redirect it with the second, and then it grapples you. It engulfs you, but you are lucky, being that you are a solo character in a campaign. Gotta give you some ways to survive one-on-one fights. Nothing happens on a failure. If you fail, blah blah blah. Yeah, nothing happens if you succeed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As this shambling mound of vegetation seems to crackle with electricity and try and grab a hold of you and engulf you, you manage to avoid it. It is now your turn. On your turn, you get your reaction back. What do you want to do? Do you want to fight this thing? Punch it to death? Do you want to try and disengage and get around it somehow? Everything is difficult terrain in this area. Do you want to back up out of its space and into the water? Do you want to try and stun it somehow with a stunning strike? Punch it with the torch? Stun this thing, punch it with the torch, stunning strike, attack. Alright, so most of you are quite on the same page with attack it. You have a lit torch in hand, so you are going to make an improvised attack with one hand, and then you can, when you are taking the attack action, you can attack twice because you're a monk. So let's go with those attacks, shall we? First one with the unarmed strike with the improvised weapon, the torch. That is a 15 on the dice. 15 plus your modifier of 7, I think it is going to hit. And then with an improvised weapon, that is a d4 of bludgeoning damage from the club, and then a d4 of fire damage from the torch. Okay, so d4 of bludgeoning is that one, and a d4 of... that is a d8. I was like, how did I roll a 5 on a d4? D4 of bludgeoning is 4, the d4 of fire is 3, plus your dexterity modifier of 4 to the bludgeoning. That means that it is going to be 8 points of bludgeoning and 3 points of fire for a total of 11, or at least it would be, if as you strike it with the torch, if you didn't see the swampy, humid, wet nature of the vines, they have a lot of moisture within them, and so they are resistant to fire damage. Unfortunately, they are not crackling firewood. They're not dried out twigs. It is very, very wet, swampy vines. So it is resistant to fire damage, but not immune, which means it will only take 1 of those fire points. So a total of 9 points of damage to the Shambling mound. That is your first attack. You've got a second attack for an unarmed strike. Switch to our claws and daggers and slash it up, maybe. Cut it into pieces. Okay, so you are going to second unarmed strike, hit it with your claws or your fists or whatever that looks like for you. And that is going to be a 9 on the dice, plus your modifier. Let's go over to the battle screen. I don't have a battle map for you at the moment, but just to double check, your battle screen you can see is a +7 to any of your attacks, and if they hit, they do a d8 plus 4 damage, as long as it is an unarmed strike or a weapon with which you are proficient. So the torch does not count because it's not a weapon with which you are proficient. So +7 onto the 9 takes it to a 16. Let me just double check that the 16 hits. 16 does hit, yes. So that hits. You are going to do a d8 plus 4. That is 7 points of damage. That is another 7 points of damage onto it. And you're going to attempt to stunning strike it. I saw a lot of people saying attempt to stun it, yes. Okay, you're going to use a focus point to attempt to stun it. That means that it has to make a Constitution saving throw. Let me just double check that stunning strike hasn't changed in the 2024 rules. Once per turn, when you hit with a monk weapon or unarmed strike, you can expend a focus point to attempt a stunning strike. The target must make a DC 14 Constitution saving throw, which it succeeds with a 16 on the dice. On a failed save, the target has the stunned condition and a whole bunch of stuff. Unfortunately, you hit it in some of the vines. You're trying to find what magic is holding this thing together and like disrupt it with your key. Unfortunately, it does not seem to hold. It's a bush. Can it be stunned? You'll find out, because if it fails its saving throw, then I'll be getting... Oh, the belt. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. The belt gave it a plus... It makes your Constitution into a +2 to it, right? +2 Dragonhide belt. It gains a +2 bonus to the saving throws. So instead of a DC 14, it's a DC 16. It already rolled a 16 on the die, and it does not have a negative con mod, so it does succeed. So it succeeds the save. Thank you for the reminder, Wraith. If you try to stun it and it succeeds and it fails on its save eventually, and then it doesn't get stunned, that's when you'll learn, oh, it can't get stunned. But until such a time, you don't know whether it just succeeded or it's immune to being stunned. But you can still try again next turn, for as long as you've got focus points. That was your attack. You've done the attack action. You've got your bonus action. Your bonus action can be to spend another focus point to attack twice, or you can save your focus points and just attack one more time. The strike did cause damage. The first attack caused 9 points of damage. The second attack caused 6 points of damage. 7 points of damage, so it's taken a total of 16 so far. Flurry of blows, try and hit it. Use a focus point. Alright, so we're going to use another focus point to bonus action Flurry of Blows. We take 2 more unarmed strikes at it. We've grabbed a piece of it, we're trying to tear it off, we're striking, we're punching, we're grabbing, we're tearing, we're clawing, using that slashing of the claws maybe to try and cut some of it apart. Let's do 2 more attacks. The first attack is going to be almost was a 13, rocked to a 5. 5 plus 7 is a 12. 12 will miss. 12 will miss its armor class. Do we want to use a lucky to reroll that? And then while you're deciding whether we want to reroll that one, I'll roll a second attack of Flurry. That's an 8. 8 plus 7 is a 15, which will hit. So you know a 15 hits, you know a 12 misses. We can use an action to regain our focus points. We can. So for those who weren't here for the character creation or what have you, you have 6 focus points. You have a feature called Uncanny Metabolism, where you can, as a bonus action, you can regain all 6 focus points again. And then even if you run through 12 focus points, you can, as an action, as another feature of the dragonhide belt that you're wearing, as an action you can regain another 6. So you have 18 focus points between short rests. Most people say, no, don't bother with the lucky point. So the first one, your first attack hits, but it's resistant to fire. Your second attack hits. Your third attack misses. Your fourth attack hits. So the damage of that final hit is going to be a d8 plus 4. 2. Terrible rolls, man. Terrible rolls. So that is 2 plus 4 is another 6 points of damage. But hey, every little helps. Another 6 points of damage onto that. It's taken 22 damage total. It has still got a lot of fight left in it. You still have movement now. You can move if you wish. Because you have a feature called Drunken Technique. Whenever you use Flurry of Blows, you gain the benefit of the disengage action, so you can now move away from it without taking an attack of opportunity. And your walking speed increases by 10 feet until the end of the current turn. So your walking speed for this turn only is 65 feet. You've got 65 feet movement and a disengage. I will remind you, as I said in the setup, you are backed into a swamp, so you can disengage and run that way, but you'll be going through water and trudging through deep swamp-like whatever the fuck, water. You can try and go that way and clamber up a hill, and you can try and go that way and clamber and climb over very dense, difficult terrain vegetation. You can't move through its space. Most people saying hill, it seems. This thing seems like swamp and water. Let's get out of that area. Climb that hill. Alright, so most people saying climb the hill, so you're going to go up the hill. You do not have a climb speed, so I will roll you an athletics check just to see how much of your movement I'm going to take off you from climbing this hill. 5. Oh, I did say that I was going to use the other dice, so I'll ignore that one because that one's still rolling bad. 12. 12 plus your athletics. You are proficient in athletics, but you have a -1 strength. So that is a +2. 12 plus 2 is a 14. 14 is not bad. 14 is above average. I'm not going to take off. I'm not going to take off too much of your movement, essentially, from the fact that you're trying to maneuver all sorts of around shit. I'll say that instead of 65, you're down to. I'll say you're down to 50. That feels fair, because no, I'll say you're down to 55. So you're down to 55 movement, and then you're going up difficult terrain, so that's halved. So you're 70, you're 27.5, 28 feet away. So you managed to skedaddle and move and disengage away from this thing. You're about 27 to 30 feet up the hill off to your left. Do you think the colour of the dice makes a difference? I don't, but a lot of superstitious people in the chat shout at me if I don't pay attention to their superstitious nonsense. Alright, so you are all the way up the hill there. That is your turn. You action, bonus action, and moved. We've got, let's see, it's going to be back to the mound. How much movement does it have? It has a 30-foot movement speed. Does it have any features that say anything about it being good over difficult terrain? Let's see. As they move through bogs and undergrowth, they can snare creatures that come into within reach of them. It doesn't, like it says that they are specifically moving around wilderness bogs and undergrowth. So it kind of feels like it should be fine over difficult terrain. I'm going to say that it's not halved from its movement, but I will take off 10. So instead of 30 feet movement, it can move 20 on its turn. So with 20-foot movement, it's going to turn towards you and start to clamber after you. It's sort of more rolling up the hill than anything. It's all of its different tendrils just grabbing out at trees and just pulling itself up. And it's just rolling up the hill as this like 10-foot ball of shambling mound of mass. It's incorporating some of the undergrowth and leaves and vines and stuff into itself, and it's just like dripping in mud. It gets to 20 feet up towards you. I said you were 27, 28 away, so you're about 8 feet away from it. What's its multi-attack? It's got a reach of 10 feet with those charged tendrils, but only 5 foot with the engulf, so that's good. So it can't engulf you, but it can tendril you. Use its movement to get towards you. It's going to make its first charged tendril attack at you. That is going to be a not great 16. Just misses again. The first one whiffs out towards you and misses. The second one, the second one whiffs out towards you. Ooh, that's good. That is a 26 to hit. That is definitely going to hit. You have your reaction back if you want to do that same thing of like reducing the damage. Thumbs up, thumbs down whether you want to reduce the damage on this. I'm going to roll the damage in the meantime. It's going to be this amount of damage on you. That is 6 and 9 is 15. 15 damage. Yes, everybody's saying use your reaction to deflect attack. It's going to do 15 damage to you minus, I'm going to roll a d10 for you. It's going to do 15 damage minus 2 plus 10, so 12. So instead of 15 damage, you are going to take just 3 damage. Not bad, not bad. Good job, monk. You're going to take 3 damage from this thing attacking you, taking you from 47 to 44. You got this easy. It's actually a benefit of going one-on-one when you're a monk with deflect attack, means you get your reaction back almost as soon as you use it. You use your reaction on their turn, you get it back on yours. You use it on theirs, you get it back on yours. You don't have to go through an entire round of like having no reactions. It's actually not too detrimental to you. That was its second attack. Because that attack did hit, though, it did get some amount of damage on you, so you tried to deflect it, but you're on difficult terrain, so it was a little bit harder maybe. You didn't manage to deflect the whole thing this time. But because it manages to hit you, if the target is medium or smaller, which you are, you're a size category medium, the Shambling mound pulls the target 5 feet straight towards itself. So the Shambling thing wraps around, you deflect most of it, it wraps around your hand rather than your body, so you don't take as much damage, but then it is wrapped around your arm and pulls you back down the hill towards it. You're not pulled off of your feet, you do manage to stay standing, but it does pull you back towards it, so you're now like 2 feet from it. So you're now within range of it. That was its second attack, so now it can make its third attack to try and engulf you again. Could it electrocute itself and constantly heal itself this way? It can't voluntarily attack itself, but you can, as a monk, try to make it hit itself. But now that you know that it heals itself that way, you're probably not going to bother. Going to need a shower after this. Spits out dirt. Okay, it is going to try and engulf you now that you're within 5 feet of it. That is a... sorry, no, that's a saving throw, not an attack. For you guys, this is a saving throw using the honey dice. Nat 20, baby! Beer, 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 beer. Do you want to re-roll that with lucky? Anyone? No? Nat 20? Nat 20 minus 1 strength plus 3 proficiency is a 22. With a 22 strength saving throw, you are pulled down towards it. It is trying to engulf you, but you wrapped your hands around the nearby branches, and you're just kind of kicking at the body of this this engulfing mound of shambling roots, and it does not manage to engulf you. Man, well done. You managed to survive another round against Shambling Mound without getting engulfed. Okay, it is now your turn again. You get your reaction back. You've got your actions. You've got a torch still out. Flurry of blow kicks. Maybe let's action dash away. Bonus action step of the wind to dash away again. If you want to just spend your time running, you can do so. If you don't disengage, you will take an attack of opportunity from it. Punch, punch, flurry, punch, punch. Punch, punch, flurry, punch, punch, run. Could work. Now that you're towards the top of this hill, it might make getting away from it a lot easier. If we stun it, can we force it to roll down the hill? Yep. Alright, so run or attack is the two things that I'm mostly seeing, right? So put a thumbs up for a run and put a thumbs down for attack. Interesting. I'm going to put it to a poll because I can't fully tell there whether it was yeses or nos. Attack or run. Obviously you can run after you've done your attacks, but like, do you want to focus your entire turn on just running, or do you want to attack it first and then run with whatever you've got left? You can always flurry of blows, which allows you to disengage as part of that. Gives you an extra 10 feet of movement, gives you that 65 feet again. You're much closer towards the top of this hill now, so it won't take up half your movement to run away from it. Can we light the ground on fire in a line to make a barrier it has to pass over? Fantastic idea, like really love the creativity, but you're not standing just on the other side of a line of petrol, like you're in a swamp. If you think you've got a torch and you drag it through the undergrowth of a swamp, there's, I'd say, less than a 1% chance that that's actually going to catch anything alight. If you had like magic, if you had like wall of fire, you could do that. If you had like some sort of magic torch that said like, it's a common magic item that's a torch that burns as long as you need it to, and once a day you can set anything on fire, even if it's not usually flammable. That'd be a cool common item. But you just got a mundane torch and you're sticking it in a swamp. It's not going to light anything. But cool idea, thinking outside the box at least. Alright, with 68% of people saying that you want to attack, you're going to turn around and just attack this thing. Attacking with the torch is still okay. Like, it's sort of like you're doing 2d4 damage, one of which is halved, or you're doing 1d8 damage, which isn't halved. So mathematically speaking, you're doing an average of 2.5, an average of half of 2.5. You're doing an average of 3.75 if you do if you hit it with a torch, or you're doing an average of 4.5 if you hit it just without the torch. So more damage on average if you don't use the torch. Alright, so just claws and fists. So at this point you're just going in with the headbutts, the claws, the fists, the punches, whatever it is. You're sort of drunken mastering, trying to punch this thing, knock it out as much as you can. Let's see with both your attacks. The first one is a 14, the second one is a 17, plus your modifiers. Both will definitely hit. So both of these attacks hit, and each of them does a d8 plus 4, that is 5 plus 4 is 9, another 5 plus 4 is another 9 for 18 points of damage total. 18 onto 22 takes it to 40 points of damage you've done to it. So, first attack, bam, bam, you're punching, you're shredding, you're tearing things with your claws. It's still got a lot of fight left in it, but you are doing significant to it. It is not necessarily bloodied yet. Stunning strike, let's attempt to stunning strike it. This is going to cost you 1 key point. With a key point, oh, fail, I think that is a, let me check its con mod. Saving throw, that's a 10. 10 is less than 16, it fails its save, and let me check if it's immunities to conditions. Immunities. Immune to lightning damage, immune to being deafened, immune to being exhausted, not immune to being stunned. So as you strike it, you claw it, as you tear off a chunk of its vines, it's ripping out towards you. It's grappled around your hand. You tear through. You rip out those bear claws, and you just tear. And as you do so, it kind of opens up to the heart of it, about 5 feet into the 10-foot diameter ball of Shambling mound is this very heavy, knotty root. It's kind of like when you've chopped down a tree and you've still got the stump to get out. And you think, oh, it's going to be half a day's job to get this stump out, and then you dig and dig and dig to try and get it out, and you're chainsawing this stump up to tear it into smaller chunks, and you're getting deeper and deeper, and you're thinking, where does this goddamn stump of this tree end? It's kind of like that's this horribly gnarled, almost rotting exterior because of the swampy, humid terrain, this moisture that's been subjected to for so long. There's this like heart of this creature, and you just go for that with an open fist, just slam as hard as you can into it, and when you do so, suddenly you connect to its life essence, its chi, its ki, its chakras. You connect to all of it, you feel its energy, and you can just manipulate it in that point. You just pluck at it and just snap it, and in that moment it goes into a stunned, it sort of goes limp. The stunned condition says, now that I've got the newer version of the game, stunned condition, I think it's basically the same as it was before, which is you have advantage on attacking it. It can't move, it can't do shit, it doesn't have actions, it's just kind of like dazed essentially. So at this point, because it's stunned, it won't be able to take an attack of opportunity at you if you run. But you still have your bonus action if you want to attack it even more. If you attack it even more with your flurry of blows, you can still run after that for a decent length of running distance, and both of your flurry of blows will be at advantage, giving you an almost 10% chance of a crit on both of them. So do you want to disengage as your bonus action and double your movement speed? Or do you want to, dash as a bonus action and double your movement speed? Or do you want to punch and try and finish it off? Most people saying flurry of blows, let's try and finish this thing off so it doesn't attack anyone else. It might have been the thing that damaged Jason after all. So, bonus action, another key point to flurry of blows, meaning that this will have you instantly start to disengage, so your movement speed is again 65 for this turn, and then you get 2 attacks at advantage. Let's roll them. The first one at advantage is a 3 or a 10. The 10 will take, plus the 7 will hit. And then the second attack is a 10 or a 14. 14 plus 7 will definitely hit. So both of those will hit. You'll do a 3 plus 4, and a 6 plus 4 is a 17. You do another 17 points of damage to this thing as it is stunned. And with that, it's starting to look bloodied. It is less than half its health left now. I think I do need to look up stunned because I need to know something about it, unless it says it here. The new Stunning Strike from 2024 rules says if it fails, it's got the stunned condition until the start of your next turn, not the end. And then it's got other stuff if it succeeds. Oh, if it succeeds. Shit, I forgot that, sorry. Anyone who was yelling at me about that, I forgot. I forgot that they buffed up Stunning Strike so that on that previous turn when you tried to stun it and it succeeded, its speed should have been halved until the start of your next turn. And then the next attack roll made against it before the start of your next turn would have had advantage. You can attack it before the start of your next turn, but it shouldn't have been able to catch up to you, technically speaking. Oh well. Okay, so you have the choice ahead of you. You've hit it 4 times this turn. You have got the disengage action and it's stunned, so it definitely can't attack you. You've got 65 feet of movement. You can get to the top of this hill using about 25 feet of that movement, and you'd be able to then run for another 30 to 40 feet of movement through the undergrowth of the swamp. If you want to run, or do you want to stand here and finish it off? Because it will be its turn now, and it will still be stunned. It won't be able to do anything. It'll come back around to your turn, and you can keep flurrying it up and trying to kill the thing. We're almost at full HP. Let's just keep attacking it, finish it off. Alright, most people saying finish it off, so it takes its turn. Nothing it can do. I don't think there's anything it can do on its turn. No, there's nothing it can do, so it comes back around to your turn again. The first 2 attacks, it no longer is stunned at the start of your turn, so the first attack will not be at disadvantage. But we can then try and stun it again with our last focus point. First attack is a nat 1. Nat 1. Sorry, it was that wooden dice again. Jesus fuck. That wooden dice is not treating us well today. We're going to go for the second attack, unless we want to lucky. Do you want to lucky that on your first attack? Because that nat 1 is not going to hit it. Lucky, no lucky, yes lucky. You definitely need a balance check on that wooden dice. I think I will after this, actually. Because I didn't actually balance check them when I got them. Lucky, but not that dice, Robert. I've put it out of the way, so I don't think to use it again. Alright, the honey dice this time for your reroll of that first attack is nat 20. Swings and roundabouts, right? So the first one is a critical hit. This is going to be an 8 plus a 4 is 12, 12 plus a d8. So you're going to do a 12 plus a d8, which is 4, so 16 points of damage with just that first strike. Takes it to this. 16 points of crit damage. Do you want to stunning strike it on that first attempt? You only get to try it once per turn, but success or failure, it's good for you. It'll use your last focus point, but then you can also just bonus action Uncanny Meta to get all your focus points back. Most people saying yes, so we will take that last focus point to Stunning Strike. This is another Constitution saving throw from its part. Unfortunately that is a 14 on the dice. It's got a +3 modifier, so that takes it to a 17. 17 beats 16, so it succeeds. It is not stunned, but it does have its movement halved. You try to smack into that central heart of it as well. This time you're expecting it to be stunned, but it whips out and sort of like blocks some of your hand. So it succeeds. Its speed is halved, and the next attack roll, on a successful save, the target's speed is halved until the start of your next turn, and the next attack roll made against it has advantage. So you do still have advantage even though it failed against its Stunning Strike. Stunning Strike didn't need to be buffed. Why? If anything, it needed to be nerfed. Why have they buffed it? Anyway, whatever. it was not still stunned redial, it's stunned until the start of your next turn. That's the one way that they did nerf it, is like made it until the start of your turn, not in the end. Alright, so we are going to roll with advantage. Unfortunately, I do have to bring this wooden dice back because it's the second dice that we have. Your second attack with advantage is a 10 or an 18. 18 plus stuff definitely hits. And that's going to be an extra 1 plus 4, so 5, an extra 5 points of damage. Every little helps. You've done 78 points of damage to it. Holy shit. It is tearing apart now. There's lots of it that's falling off. You have been like hammering into that central point. You got your claws out. Like a cat's scratching post. It is starting to flake off and tear into pieces. It is definitely looking bloodied and definitely not enjoying this fight. You have a bonus action left. You can attack once as a bonus action. The flurry of blows thing happens because you used focus points and you're all out. So you can attack once as your bonus action, or you can use Uncanny Metabolism as your bonus action. It would recover the 3 hit points that you've lost, and you would get all your focus points back. There's other things you could do as a bonus as well, but I think those are the primary 2 that you should probably want to do. So 1 attack or Uncanny Metabolism. Which do we feel like? Uncanny, uncanny, uncanny. Most people say in the Uncanny Metabolism. Alright, so this is the first time you've ever used this, so help me describe what it looks like. What does it look like for you to... Is it just a case of meditating in this moment for a moment? Is it just like a quick, deep breath? Is it like you go into your happy place? Is it Ngairi, the monk who first taught you your abilities? Your eyes go wide, your pupils dilate, 3 deep breaths. Is this a monk thing? This is a monk thing, Wraith. Take a moment to focus your mind, reconnect with your body. Think about the sisters. It's like a whole body shake. Yeah. Quick step outside your body moment, floating upwards and away, seeing the battle from above, feeling calm. Yeah, I think this is a moment where you're burning through your focus. You're feeling like you've definitely got the upper hand in this fight, but at the same time, you don't know what happens if it manages to ever actually get that. Maybe it only needs 1 time to succeed, and then you're screwed. And it's like, can't get too cocky. And you feel in this moment a flashback to a time when you were like, let's see, somewhere around 6 years old, let's say. To remind you as well, in case that very first thing in the very first flashback that I gave you in episode 1 felt like you're thinking a lot for a 4-year-old. Ernivora people develop faster than humans, so a 4-year-old Ernivora is more like a 6-year-old child. 6-year-old's more like a 9-year-old human. So you're around about 6 years old, and I think you have you're angry and you slam a door and you say, "Well, go to hell!" And you hear, "Hey, excuse me, we don't allow language like that in here." And you turn and you see Ngairi's coming out of the nearby room, and it says, "What's the matter with you?" And you say, "Minaki did. And you start crying about something that Minaki did, and she goes, "Hey, emotions are okay. We told what do I always say? She says, emotions are valid." Yeah, emotions are valid. You're allowed to have them, but you're not allowed to act you're not allowed to act on them until you've processed them. Shouting and slamming doors is not a healthy way to process it, is it? You're allowed to be angry. What did she do? Come on, tell me. And she sort of calms you through it, and she says, "What do we do when things are getting overwhelming?" And you say, "We take a breath." That's right. You just take a breath and you count a little bit, and you calm yourself, and she teaches you some breathing techniques. And in this moment, you're back at the fight with this shambling mound, and things are getting a little bit overwhelming. You're starting to panic about, like, if I can't take this thing down, if it's harder than I think, what if it explodes? What if it's got lightning? What if it grabs me? Is this how Jason died? Oh God, maybe this is just the bait, and there's something else that's coming. Maybe it's slowing me down. Maybe I should have run away. And you start to panic a little bit, and then you hear Ngairi's voice. "What do we do when we're overwhelmed?" And you say, "Just take a breath." And you just breathe in for 3, and you breathe out for 3. And your Uncanny Metabolism, which allows you to regain hit points equal to the roll of your martial arts die, which is a D8. You recover 7. You'd only lost 3, so you're back up to full. Why does it not want me to click on that? Hello? What am I doing? It's because I'm still clicking on Jason. There we go. You're back up to full hit points. You regain all your focus points, and you're feeling focused. You're in the moment. That was your bonus action. Your attack. You've got movement. It is not stunned, so if you do want to move out of its range, it will get an attack opportunity on you. What do you want to do? Do you want to stay where you are, or do you want to move away and take that attack? Stay where we are. Stay where we are. Did we not flurry? You had no focus points for flurry, which is why we had to go through all that metabolism to gain them back in the first place. Okay, most people saying stay where you are. There were a few parts of your brain saying we should move. Our speed is our advantage, but most people saying stay where we are. Finish it off. That is the end of your turn. It's going to take 3 attacks at you. Then let's see if it can engulf you with any of these. First attack is an 11 plus its modifier 7 takes it to an 18. It finally hits you. All right. You've got your reaction back. I'm assuming you're going to use it unless anybody shouts at me otherwise. I'm going to assume you're going to use your reaction to try and reduce this. It uses a charged tendril. It hits you for 10 points of bludgeoning and 4 points of lightning for 14 points total. 14 points total. You are going to use your reaction to reduce that by 3 plus 10, was it? Yes, 3 plus 10 is 13. 13 reduces the 14 to 1. You take 1 point of damage. It drags you towards it. You were already in melee with it anyway. Take 1 point of damage. That is all you take from it. It does not grapple you at the same time. It just pulls you in and then lets go. The second attack, now you've used your reaction, you won't be able to reduce this one. The second attack hits you if it hits you. It is an 18 again, same as before, so now you can't use a redirect on this one. This is going to be 3 plus 4 is 7, plus another 4. Lightning is 11. So you take 11 points of damage for this, taking you down to 35. That was its 2 attacks with that. It can replace one of those attacks with an engulf, so it's going to try and engulf you. Let's see what happens there. Engulf, I need a strength saving throw from you. I'm going to use the honey die for you. Oh, that's a nat 1. That is a nat 1 minus 1 plus 2 plus 3 from strength, so you're getting a 3 total. Do you want to re-roll that 3 with one of your luckies? Betrayal. Betrayal. Definitely need to lucky that. Yes, please. Okay, so feeling very lucky, but feeling a lot less lucky. You've only got 1 luck point, and you've used all hero points. So you're going to re-roll that and see if we can beat its DC on strength. Here we go. That is a 10. Much better. 10 plus 2 from your strength save is a 12. 12 is, unfortunately, still not enough. So as it wraps around you, you are lucky that you managed to wriggle out of the first 2, but it's got too many on you and it's dragging you in. It seems to drag its body around you and engulf you. Let's see what it does. The target is pulled into the Shambling Mound's space and has the grappled condition with a particular DC to escape it. Until the grapple ends, the target has the blinded and restrained conditions. Blinded means you can't see, you automatically fail any ability checks that require you to see. Attack rolls against you have advantage, your attack rolls have disadvantage. Restrained also has similar things. Attack rolls against you have advantage, you also have disadvantage. And you have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. The target is the blinded and restrained conditions and takes 3d6 lightning damage at the start of each of its turns. When the Shambling Mound moves, the grappled target moves with it, costing it no extra movement. The Shambling Mound can have only 1 creature grappled at a time. So it has grappled you, it has pulled you into itself, and you can start to feel the Shambling Mound's vines are crackling with the electricity that's keeping it alive, and it's pressed right up against you. You're going to take lightning damage every time you start your turn in its space. Good news, it doesn't have Jason. Or it didn't. 4 months is a long time to decompose somebody. Okay, that is that. Okay, it is going to essentially use you as compost to try and regenerate the hit points that you've done off of it over the next few months if it can kill you. That is all you can do as your as its action. It's done 2 attacks and then an engulf. That's all it can do. it is going to start to shamble down the hill again. It goes back that 30 feet or so, back down the hill. It is now back to your turn. Top of your round, you're going to take 3d6 lightning damage, which is 1 plus 3 plus 4 is 8 points of lightning. You take 8 points of lightning damage, and we start your turn. You're up to 27. You're at 27 of 47. You're not even half hit points yet. You're good. It, however, is still on half hit points. Less than. So you're starting your turn inside it. You are blinded. You have disadvantage on like damaging it, or you can spend your action to try and break the grapple. If you spend your action to try and break the grapple, you can use an acrobatics or athletics check. Your athletics will give you a +2. Your acrobatics will give you a +4. So you could use an acrobatics check to try and like wiggle your way out using dexterity. Try and noodle your way out of these things. Most people saying break the grapple, let us out. Alright, so acrobatics check. The DC I'll tell you is a DC 14, which means you need to roll a 10 or higher. You've got a 55% chance with acrobatics. 19 plus stuff is definitely enough. So as it's starting to turn around and wiggle back down, if it was at full hit points, it would probably be able to eat you no problem, but because you've already torn off most of it and it's at less than half hit points, there's just too few vines still left on it to maintain you in its body, and so you manage to wriggle around, get out of it like someone at jiu-jitsu, just like breaking free from some sort of a hold, and you are back out of its body and back out onto the space adjacent to it. That was your action to escape, but now you can use a bonus action. Again, you can focus point punch it twice with a flurry of blows, or you can use a bonus action to whatever else. Try and get out of there. I feel like it's going to be a little bit more of a choice this time, so I'm going to put it down to a poll just immediately to say, do you want to run or fight? Flurry gives us the disengage, and we are very fast. You are. You've got 55 movement normal. If you disengage, if you flurry of blows, you've got 65 movement speed and 2 attacks. And if you don't, you can instead Step of the Wind. Step of the Wind allows you to take the dash action as a bonus action, which means you, instead of 55, you get 110 movement speed. And if you expend a focus point to Step of the Wind, you disengage and dash. So you can punch twice and run 65, or disengage and run 110. This murder bush is mean. Yeah. This is the sort of thing that makes wandering around the swamps a little dangerous. 79% of you deciding let's fight it. Crack your neck. Go back into your drunken master. Hard to predict where you're coming from. Send out your claws. Use a focus point to hit it twice, hopefully. The first one is going to be a... The first one's going to be a... it rocked from a 3 to a 17. 17 plus stuff definitely hits it. And do you want to use a focus point to try and stunning strike it, which will reduce its speed in half, even if it succeeds? I'll roll the damage in the meantime. Oh, good. 7. 7 plus 4 is 11. 11 points of damage with that. You're 11 points shy of doing 100 points of damage to it. Yes. I'll always be stunning. All right, we're going to use another focus point to stunning strike this thing. Let's see if it can. I'll roll with the wooden dice that's been rolling poorly. Oh, it was a nat 1 and it rolled to a 13. It was very close to a nat 1 though, and making me think, yes, I probably do need to weight test this. It rolled to a 13. 13 plus 3 is 16, just enough to hit, just enough to meet the AC, the DC that it needed. So unfortunately, it's got a pretty hardy constitution, living in a swamp and just digesting raw animals. So unfortunately, it does not stun it, but it still halves its movement speed and gives the next attack on it advantage. So either way, you have advantage on this last flurry of blows. Last flurry of blows is a nat 20 with advantage. That was an 11 or a nat 20. Nat 20 is 1, which is not great, plus 12, I said, right? Yeah, 12 plus 1 is 13. 13 points of damage. With 13 points of damage, that is close enough that I will not I'll not hamstring this or force this to continue any longer. Rules as written. I was trying to use the Monster Manual rules as written with this because I was like, I'm interested to know how much they've balanced in regards to the stats and stuff. Rules as written, it has 110 hit points, and you've done 102 damage to it. But I feel like we've got everything we need to out of this fight. So with that last damage, especially with it being a crit, it feels like it's an appropriate time. You're punching, you're scratching, you've clawed your way back out of it after being engulfed. You grab it by a couple of the strands, you pull it out, and it's kind of resisting as it doesn't want you to see that central heart. You pull it back in either side, and then you just Spartan kick your foot into the middle of it, and you just punch that heart of wood right out the other side of it, and it just falls to the ground, and then just stops crackling, and all of the pieces just fall down into this rotting vegetation. This is Drennvaal! You take a second to pant. It took a lot out of your stamina. Generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, I don't tend to think of you as like taking wounds per se until you hit half your hit points, which you didn't. You still remained above half your hit points, but you came close. You're panting. You took a lot there. And you've used a lot of your metabolism and focus points and even your luck for the day. But you managed to kill a challenge rating 5 creature as a solo character at level 6. So that's well done. That's impressive. Got to the root of that problem. Dude just came out to draw pretty pictures and the plants are attacking us. Turn it into a ghillie suit. Now we can branch out. Alright, roll to look for Jason, or remnants of Jason. Okay, here we go. Looking around the remnants of it for loot, essentially, to see if there's any indication that Jason was absorbed or digested by it. We'll roll you an investigation check. That is a 15 plus 1, because you're not proficient in investigation. That's just a 16. With a 16, you take a good look at the rotting parts of it. You cautiously pick up some of them, and definitely no life left in those. Throw them off to the side, like deliberately discard some of them, like a part aside from itself, in case it's got can come back together Terminator style. Just throwing them all in different directions. You're looking specifically for clothing, any non-digestibles like metal, coins perhaps, coin purse, any weapons like sword or anything. You're not seeing any of that. So either it didn't have it, or after it's digested something, it just kind of spits it out like waste products and just leaves it somewhere in the forest. Go pick up that wooden heart for carving. Love it. Alright, so you go and loot that wooden heart. Loot that body. Play my flute while I loot that dead kid's body. Let's see if we've got anything on here. We've got trophies. Feather, boar guts, manticore, spine, horn. No, that's not. No, that kind of looks like a piece of wood. Yeah, that'll do. We'll do that, and then we'll add a little note to it to make sure that we know what it is. We'll say Shambling mound heart. With a Shambling mound heart. Oh, come on. With a Shambling mound heart added to the bag. We pick it up, we investigate that it's not going to regenerate or anything. We're pretty sure it won't. Scratch, scratch. It just seems like wood. Okay, we'll put that in the bag. Must have our trophies. Might even come in handy. Might have magical qualities or something. You don't know. You're not proficient in Arcana. Oh look, it's Jason's magic strength belt. Okay, let's do another predatory patience to make sure the area is clear, and then short rest. Sure thing. As you stay thinking okay, that was a lot of action there. It could be that something could be attracted to the noise or whatever. Let's just have a little sense. You take a moment to calm yourself. Predator ears go up. Your eyes looking out for things. Listening to the rustling of the wind through the trees and the chirping of birds and cicadas. Doing a predatory patience. Giving yourself advantage on this perception check. Ooh, not great. 3 and a 9, so we'll take that 9, and then proficiency plus 3, so 6 onto 9 is still a 15, even from a 9. That's not bad. With a 15, you focus, listening out for things. Just gonna roll something real quick. Okay. 2 on their stealth check, so I guess you do hear them. You are listening, and then there is a crack of twig, and your ear kind of hips this way. And as your ear sort of signals out where it is, you can hear some whispered voices. Just make a history check, see if you come across this before. With a 7. Oh, you are proficient in history, so that's a 4 onto that, that's 11. You're not, with an 11, it's not enough for you, with your background, it's not enough to pick up exactly what that language is. But there's something. You're smelling, trying to smell them as well, but you realise that the sound, the direction the sound's coming from is downwind of you, which indicates to you they're probably hunters, or they're probably aware of hunting things and not getting upwind of them. And then you hear, with that same perception check and that terrible stealth check from them, you hear the sort of like unmistakable creaking of leather as some very faint leather armor sort of sounds is moving about somewhere that direction up the hill from you. What do you want to do? Go stealthy and try and approach them without them seeing you, or without them hearing you coming? Just call out, I know you're there. Those are the 2 options, stealth or call out. What are any other options? Good thing we didn't run up that hill, we would have run straight into them, potentially. Dash away, hide, and spy on them. Smell checks for that arrogance now. They're downwind of you. Okay, I'm going to put it to a poll because we've got 3 major options coming up. This fight was a success, but I've read that short rest does not refresh our uncanny metabolism. Correct. Uncanny metabolism comes back on a long rest. Your focus points come back on a short rest though. So you've still got 4 focus points to use, and then an action to regain a d8 focus points, and then you can also regain them on a short rest. Alright, 67% decide just call out. So you hear this, and you call out what? I know you're there, I can hear you. And then you hear this, and then just quiet. I mean, I just said I can hear you. Do you speak common? I'm not going to harm you. I come in peace. I've just killed this, whatever this was. It was attacking me. You're not a bugbear. No, not a bugbear. You're not with the goblins. No, I'm not with the goblins. Where are you? I swear I'm not going to hurt you. You see an elven face pop out from behind a tree, remarkably close. Like, until I rolled that fucking 2 on its stealth save, they were doing very well on stealthing up to you to see what's happening. You notice that they are like full predator mode with complete faces just covered in mud, just mud and leaves stuck to the mud as well. They've like proper ghillie suited themselves up. They're used to walking through this swamp and what is required to not get attacked by things in the swamp. Kind of wish people would stop asking that, eh? I'm not a bugbear. We need a hat that says not a bugbear. I'm an herbivore. I don't know what that is. It's some sort of bear? A little bit offensive. No, I'm an herbivore. Never mind. You an elf? Yes. What are you doing here? I'm from Ronajaya. I'm with the Artisanal Alliance. Let's see if they've heard of the Artisanal Alliance. Aren't they diplomats? No, not all of us. I'm a map maker. Here to make a map. I'm just looking for a colleague who went missing a few months back, eh? Alright. And he... And then you see 3 more pop out at various different points. One of them you only just see now that he kind of, because he gestured over to be like, it's okay. You look over to where I was saying that very dense vegetation was, and like between two fallen trees, you just see some eyes like that. Just muddy, like squint, when they squint or close their eyes, you can barely see them, and then you just see two eyelids open, and the eyeballs looking at you from you. Another one of them is across the other side of the lake, the swampy lake sort of a thing. Just kind of behind a rock, peeks out. So, any reason you didn't help me with that thing? Are you just going to watch me die? You thought you were a bugbear. Wondered why you were aside from your goblin clan. We don't do well with the goblins. Oh, right. So you were just going to watch me die? Yes, if you're our enemy, we wanted to see if we could learn anything from taking your possessions after you were dead. Right. Well, my colleague was not a bugbear either, and they were not herbivora, I think human. Have you heard anything about him by chance, Jason? We're quite worried about him. Let's see if this guy has heard anything about Jason. Not with that roll, he hasn't. He says, I don't recall the name Jason. We don't interact with humans much, but I'm afraid if he came into the Drennvaal on his own, as you can see, it's dangerous, especially these days. There is a bit of an upheaval. There has been an upheaval of the order of things. It's been a upheaval. There has been an upheaval of the order of things. The hunter has not come back in many months now, and so things are starting to be allowed to grow and get a little disruptive. More things are coming out and being attacked, and the goblins have been displaced by, I think, the ogres, because the ogres aren't getting picked off by the hunter anymore, and there's a lot of things happening. So I'm afraid it's already a dangerous place and getting more so in the last few months. So, sorry, the hunter? Can I come up the hill so we're not shouting? Yes, please do. He gestures up the hill, and you can see that he's got a longbow over the shoulder now. You approach. As you're approaching, you can see that this is an elven man, wood elf, or swamp elf as it is actually. A swamp elf. He's much shorter than you. He's probably only about 5'4". He's quite thin and lithe, but very athletic. He's got that sort of farmer strength build, and a very, very chiseled jaw underneath all of that mud. Who's the hunter? The hunter's a dragon that comes down from Drennvaal Ranges. Red dragon. Hasn't come back in a few months now. We think he's probably either moved on to different hunting grounds, or he's dead, or perhaps been displaced by a bigger dragon, or whatever the reason. It doesn't matter what, but for some reason the dragon hasn't come back, and it means that there has been a disruption to the natural order of things. Is this could this be to do with why the orcs are getting more aggressive? Is it because of the hunter being gone? Orcs? You don't know about the orcs? I don't know anything about the orcs, no. Well, since I'm supposed to map out this area, it might be dangerous to travel back and forth. Could I perhaps seek shelter with you guys? I'd love to get to know you, make friends with your people. There's some very visible kind of tension to that. And you say, is that not a good idea? And he goes, our people don't... Well, we survive by looking after our own. I'm happy to let you leave, but I won't take you back to my village. I'm sorry, I don't know you, and for all I know you are working with the goblins, and this is all a ruse. I hope you understand. Did Tals kill him? I'll never tell. Well, I mean, as you can see, I'm not a threat to anyone who doesn't attack me or any friends of mine. I'm not a threat to you. I'm here to learn. Sound South African. I'm here to learn. I'm just trying to map the area. Why are you trying to map the Drennvaal? Well, it's my job. Are your people moving into the area? No, we're just mapping the area. Should I mark an area on the map that's like stay away from here? Yes, the Drennvaal. Okay, well I can't get paid if I don't have a map, yeah? I don't know how to help you. I can't take you to my village. No, that's understandable. Fine. I'm very fast. I may be able to scout the area for you, alert you to dangers before they approach. We are good enough at that. One of them you can hear audibly scoffs at your proposal. If they think we're a bugbear, why don't they know about goblin aggression? Are they lying? Make an insight check. Insight modifier. That is a 6. A 6 plus your insight plus wisdom is going to be a 6 as well, so 12. With a 12 insight, you're not picking up on any reason for them to be lying. They're obviously keeping things secret, not outwardly telling you about where they live and such, but they're not being hostile either. And if they're lying, you don't pick up on it. That's completely understandable. Eh? Times are precarious. I wouldn't hold not providing shelter for me now against you. Are there many more of those aggressive flora around? Anything similar I should know about? There's a lot of things that you should know about. There are the sapping vines. If you want to look out for things like that, and he points out like about 30 feet to your left and up in the treetops, about 60 feet up. So as you see those ones, the ones that look like they have curl to them, they're like a wrapped fern sort of a thing, big coil. You say, I'm not sure what you're pointing. You point that one, the coil. Eventually you see it. Oh yeah, it says those ones are sapping vines. They will, if something is beneath them, they will come down and wrap onto you, and then they sap life from you. They're usually not enough to kill you, but they're like the leeches. And he points down to the swamp that you almost walked through, which had leeches in it, by the way. Like the leeches, they just stick on. You have to burn them off or cut them off, but in the time that they're attached, they've taken some of your blood. And then there's those ones that we just call the shambling mounds. Like, oh, that's what I was calling it. Then there's the goblins, the rats, the frogs. There are giant frogs here that could swallow maybe not something of your size. Hard to tell. So what's your plan? Is there anything else you need to know from these guys, or do you want to just be like, hey, we've learned something that we probably need to tell people? Do we backtrack? Or do we stay here and try and map some more? I understand being wary of strangers. Don't want to distress your people or impose on you or anything like that. Just want to hopefully prevent people from losing their way in their life here, yeah? Because like, if there had been a map, then Jason might still be alive. Yes, I wish you well in trying to find him. Schlala, Firask! And he points and gestures and gives like a hand signal, and the four of them start to come out from their various hiding places and start walking back towards you. Best of luck travels to you. And to you. He pauses for a moment, looks back and says, you have a name? I do. Do you? My name is Flane. It's a pleasure to meet you, Flane. Thank you for not shooting me. Do you give Flane your name? Anyone else maybe know of Jason's location? None of these guys know. Her name's not Bugbear. Just Noodle. You say, yeah, you can call me Noodle. Noodle. Looks down at your arms. Noodle killed a big ball of noodles, I suppose. Good luck. And turns and leaves. So you succeeded on a random encounter as you were mapping out the Drennvaal. You've also learned something that the elves, what do they call them? The Kosfret. The Kosfret elves are somewhere close enough to here to be hunting, I guess. You've learned that they have problems with the goblins, that the goblins are working with bugbears, and that the goblins have been displaced, possibly by ogres, who in turn are not being killed lately because of the hunter is not coming back. So you've learned quite a lot about what's going on here. And so as you stay around to decide whether you're going to map out the rest of the Drennvaal and even set up camp here, or whether you're going to start making tracks back to Portsend, that's where we're going to leave it. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. See you in the next one. What's the hive mind going to decide to do next? Do you want to be a part of it? Join me at Twitch.